Hello friends, welcome back to another video from Shomu's Biology. In this video lecture, we are going to talk about mitochondria structure and function. We are going to talk about something regarding mitochondria that you did not understand, that you don't know earlier. So something new you're going to get from this video. So stay tuned to talk about mitochondria structure and function advanced. So let me take a color and let's start talking about the mitochondria structure and function. So the very first thing that I want to say is whenever you see this picture or in this kind of picture and simply ask yourself, what is mitochondria? What answer you get? You're going to get that powerhouse of cell, right? Energy producing organelle of a cell. So basically mitochondria is a very important organelle of eukaryotic cell that is found in both plants and animals, that is actually helping to produce ATP, the functional currency, the energy currency of a cell, right? And that's true. So what is mitochondria? It's a double membrane bound organelle found in cytoplasm of eukaryotic cell. Mito term means thread, chondria means granule like structure, first observed by the Richard Altman. Term mitochondria was given by Carl Benda. They produce enzymes for the metabolic conversion of food into energy. So basically mitochondria is the place of one of the most important stages of the whole metabolic process, and that is electron transport chain that produces energy, that produces ATP from the metabolic components and from NADH, FADH2 and all these components via this process of electron transport chain. So this is the schematic drawing of mitochondria, where we can see mitochondria is enveloped. Obviously it's a double membrane bound organelle and it has its own genetic material. It has structures which are discrete fold inside known as cristae, and it has the component inside where all the proteins are present known as matrix. So all these things are present. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the origin of mitochondria. The very first thing that I want to say, origin of mitochondria, there are different theories, but one theory stands apart, and that is the endosymbiotic theory. What is endosymbiotic theory? What we found out is that the endosymbiotic theory explains that there are certain organelles which are now seen in eukaryotic cell basically was earlier a primitive cell or a prokaryotic cell. For example, mitochondria, chloroplast, they were there as a prokaryotic organism and they get engulfed by the eukaryotic cell, and for long years they are standing, they're present inside the eukaryotic cell and they become organelle. Okay, that is the endosymbiotic theory. So there are these two situations. There is the first round of endosymbiotic theory and second round of endosymbiotic theory. In the first round of endosymbiotic event, the ancestral eukaryotic consumed some sort of aerobic bacteria. Remember, aerobic bacteria means the bacteria that they can utilize oxygen for the respiration, for production of energy. So aerobic bacteria engulfed, okay, and those aerobic bacteria stayed there and they converted into mitochondria. While the second endosymbiotic event is the early eukaryote consumed photosynthetic bacteria that evolved into chloroplast. So in the very first event, okay, aerobic bacteria engulfed, they become mitochondria. In the second symbiotic event, endosymbiotic event, photosynthetic bacteria engulfed and they become chloroplast. So generally the second type is in the plant cells, the plant eukaryotic cells, and the first one is animal as well as plant eukaryotic cell, both. Okay, that is the idea. Now let's look at the morphology of mitochondria. The size is 0.5 to 1 micrometer. Okay, length 1 to 10 micrometer. Shape bean shaped. You can see this is the kind of shape. Okay, we simply draw mitochondria something like this in a cross section view, and they are this infold structure known as cristae. We draw it like that. And this is outer membrane, this is inner membrane, this is intermembrane space, this is matrix, remember this is cristae, and their genome, mitochondrial DNA is there inside, and there are different enzymes present in the inner mitochondrial membrane, which we will see in a moment. The number depend on the cell type. For example, an average liver cell contains around 15,000 mitochondria. Of course, liver cells which is actively participating in the process of the whole metabolic, so kind of brain of the whole metabolic process, has more number of mitochondria. They require more energy, so 1500 mitochondria at a given time. Now, if we talk about the structures, what structures we are going to talk about the outer membrane, the inner membrane, intermembrane space. So basically the membrane or envelope of mitochondria, then cristae, the infolds of mitochondria, the matrix, the actual place where all the enzymes are present inside of the mitochondria. These are the things that we'll discuss about. So the very first thing that we are going to talk about here is the outer membrane of mitochondria. They are made of a simple phospholipid bilayer. So bilayer, two-layered phospholipid membrane is present, contain large number of integral protein structures called porins, which allows molecules to frequently diffuse in and out of this membrane. So basically the porins are present in the outer membrane of mitochondria is open to all, right? Small molecules can go in and out. Okay, it can allow pass of molecule less than 5000 Dalton. Ions, nutrient, ATP, ADP, etc. pass through the outer mitochondria with ease without any problem. Through these porins they can easily pass in and out. The outer mitochondrial membrane is composed of about 50% phospholipids by weight and contains a variety of enzymes. Okay, see this picture. This is outer membrane. The porins are not drawn here. The porins are present here, and here the porins are present. So things can go in and out of the porins quite easily without any problem. Remember we talked about ions, nutrient, ATP, ADP can easily go in and out. Second thing is intermembrane space. The space between the outer membrane and the inner membrane. Okay, this is the region of intermembrane space, known as the perimitochondrial space as well. The space between inner membrane and outer membrane. It has high proton concentration. Basically it has high proton concentration because the electron transport chain components present in the inner membrane of mitochondria. Okay, ATP synthase is also present in the inner membrane of mitochondria. So basically they pump protons out from the matrix into the intermembrane space of mitochondria. That's why high proton concentration is present in the inner mitochondrial mitochondrial membrane or perimitochondrial space or intermembrane space, and low proton is present in the matrix, and as the proton move from high to low, the ATP is produced. Okay, because basically the distance here is 70 angstrom, the length, because the outer membrane is freely permeable to small molecules. The concentration of small molecules such as ions and sugars in the intermembrane space same as the cytoplasm. This is very interesting concept. So the concentration of ions and all the component present in the intermembrane space is very same, actually same as that of the cytoplasm, because there is no difference, there is no guard between the cytoplasmic components and the outer membrane of mitochondria. So anything that is present in the cytosol can easily go inside the intermembrane space if the size of the components are less than 5000 Dalton. Okay, remember that. Now the third one is inner mitochondrial membrane. So this was outer membrane that contains porin. Remember, this is intermembrane space. Basically cytosol components and inner membrane components are same. Let me write it here, they are same. Now the inner membrane contains electron transport chain and ATP synthase. Okay, ATP synthase enzyme that will produce ATP, and inner whole complex 1, 2, 3, 4 electron transport chain, different subcompartments. Okay, these are present. Now what we say is that this inner membrane is freely permeable only to oxygen, carbon dioxide and water. Apart from oxygen, carbon dioxide and water, other molecules cannot diffuse through this because it's tightly regulated. Okay, the inner mitochondrial membrane contains protein that perform redox reactions, oxidative phosphorylation. It helps in ATP synthesis, transport proteins and protein import machinery, mitochondrial fusion and fission proteins. Basically mitochondria can also grow 1 to 2 and can join. So fusion and fission both is possible. All these things are present in the inner membrane of mitochondria. So inner membrane of mitochondria plays more important role than the outer membrane of mitochondria. And several antipode system exists allowing the exchange of anions between the cytosol and the mitochondrial matrix. That is also very important concept here. So mitochondria don't bother about what is there in the cytosol because it can easily go inside the intermembrane space, but it bothers about what comes out from the matrix into the intermembrane space, because intermembrane space is limited, matrix is bigger, but the intermembrane space is the place where the proton concentration must be high in order to drive the proton motive force that will rotate the turbine, that is ATP synthase, to produce ATP by fusing ADP with Pi during the oxidative phosphorylation or electron transport chain. Now let's look at the fourth structure, is the cristae. What is cristae? Remember I told you, these infolds of inner mitochondrial membrane. Folds of inner mitochondrial membrane which expand its surface area. Basically the folds are present to increase the surface area, right? Surface area to volume ratio is increased, so that the more surface area means the more place to carry out oxidative phosphorylation to produce ATP. The more cristae is present, the more surface area is there, the more ATP can be produced. Stalk particles are inner membrane spheres. Cristae is covered with this inner membrane spheres called stalked particles or knobs or heads. So basically these are knobs or heads. So there are stalked particles that are present here, and they are known as knobs or heads basically. Okay, you don't need to understand further about it. Now what is matrix? The fifth component, matrix, is the center filled cavity that is known as matrix here. Okay, so matrix has appropriate enzymes and suitable pH for the Krebs cycle process to continue. Mitochondrial matrix serves as the place for one of the most vital carbohydrate metabolism stage, and that is Krebs cycle or TCA cycle. It is a space enclosed by the inner membrane, gel-like consistency, dense and homogeneous structure, contains 2/3 of the total protein of mitochondria. All the proteins that are needed, basically the enzymes needed for the Krebs cycle, TCA cycle, is present there. It has enzyme, DNA genome, ribosomes, tRNA, granules, fibrils and tubules, what not. So basically it's the place that holds everything together inside the mitochondria. The matrix is important in the production of ATP with the aid of the ATP synthase contained in the inner membrane. It's also important because matrix is the place from where the protons are transferred into the intermembrane space, and then the protons are turned inside via the proton motive force. The proton is transported back from high to low, and as from high to low concentration protons are siphoned, the ATP synthase turbine rotates, ADP is combined to Pi to make ATP. Okay, now the sixth, mitochondrial DNA, also known as mtDNA. mtDNA, mitochondrial DNA. So what it is? Small double-stranded covalently closed circular molecule, so like a plasmid basically. Occurs in multiple copies. It has 16,569 base pair. Most usually remains attached to the inner mitochondrial membrane. They are not floating like that. They generally are attached to the inner mitochondrial membrane and stores biological information required for the growth and multiplication of mitochondria. It helps in the production of certain genes and proteins that helps the mitochondria to split. Okay, and the mitochondria can grow from 1 to 2 and can split from 1 to 2, and 2 mitochondria can also fuse to make bigger structures. So those things can be done by the enzymes produced from the genes that are present in the mitochondrial DNA. Now it encodes RNAs and proteins that are essential for mitochondrial function. Encodes what? 2 rRNAs, 2 ribosomal RNAs, 22 tRNAs and 13 mitochondrial membrane proteins. Okay, and can undergo replication and duplication. But there is a catch to this mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondrial DNA cannot be termed as absolutely autonomous. It requires the help of nuclear DNA in order to carry out the process of transcription and making the desired proteins. What are the functions of mitochondria? Now let me list them. Aerobic respiration, the most important function. It uses complex molecules and oxygen to produce higher energy components, and obviously ATP, which is the energy currency for the cell. It produces that via the oxidative phosphorylation electron transport chain. Mitochondria are more abundant in cells that contain a lot of energy. For example, muscle, they are filled with mitochondria, because the more mitochondria a cell has, the more energy it can produce. Extra mitochondrial inheritance, that is mitochondrial DNA, contains plasma genes. Synthesis of mitochondria, RNA and protein is possible. And also mitochondria serves as the place for Krebs cycle. Synthesis of 13 different polypeptides in humans are done inside mitochondria. So there are also several more functions, but these are the most abundant functions. And let me write down some more functions depending upon the compartmentalization of mitochondria for all of you. And you can see outer membrane of mitochondria is the place where oxidation of epinephrine is done, degradation of tryptophan is done, elongation of fatty acids are carried out, all in the outer membrane. Inner membrane of mitochondria involved in oxidative phosphorylation and production of ATP. Matrix of mitochondria is a house and home for Krebs cycle, beta oxidation of fatty acids and detoxification of ammonia, okay, in urea cycle, and storage of calcium ions as well in the body. Mitochondrial matrix is a huge storage of calcium ions, and when our body need to have an efflux of calcium ions in the cytosol, then the calcium ions can be transported from mitochondrial matrix into the cytoplasm. That can be done as well. The other functions of mitochondria is the production of heat for non-shivering thermogenesis, role in apoptosis in programmed cell death, obviously in the mitochondria. If the mitochondrial pores are created, the pores in the surface of mitochondria can be created with when the cytochrome C comes out of the mitochondria, it creates the pore, and as a result of which it causes the activation of intrinsic pathway of apoptosis or programmed cell death. Quite intrigued. Intrinsic pathway of apoptosis is actually regulated here. Synthesis of estrogen and testosterone is also there inside the mitochondria. Role in neurotransmitter metabolism. Mitochondria has role in neurotransmitter metabolism. It has role in cholesterol metabolism. It has role in heme synthesis or iron synthesis. The heme structure, the iron core heme structure that helps to produce the core of hemoglobin, and role in cellular proliferation, mitochondrial and mitochondrial mediated apoptosis we have already talked about. It also has role in proliferation as well. So these are all very, very vital functions. You can clearly see that we can talk about individual functions for long time. But these are all functions played by the mitochondria. Specific regions of the mitochondria play different roles. So without mitochondria, we cannot imagine a cell's function. And you know the mitochondria contains their own genetic material which is self-sustained. Right now we know that it requires the nucleus, the gene from the nucleus also as a helper, but it has the self-replicating component, and that is something unique about it. That helps us to understand that yes, there were maybe some time this mitochondria was a prokaryotic organism and they are engulfed by the eukaryotes. Staying inside the eukaryotic cell for long duration, they turn into an organelle and be a part of it, because the symbiosis between the eukaryotic cell and this prokaryotic cell begins. This prokaryotic cell, mitochondria, in that sense is producing energy and supplying the energy to the eukaryotic cell, and the eukaryotic cell in turn is getting the benefit, so it helps to stay there for a while. So that is endosymbiotic theory explaining how mitochondria originated in the very first place. So this is all about the mitochondrial structure and function. As I mentioned, you are going to take home with some important information about mitochondrial structure and function. I believe I made that clear. If you got something new from this lecture, please hit the lecture like button and also mention that in the comment. We want to understand and know more about it. So if you like it, please hit the like button, share this video with your friends and subscribe to this channel to get more videos like that. Thank you. Bye.